If you're not getting leads inside your Google Ads campaign, or the leads that you are getting are just not from your ideal target audience, in today's video, we'll show you how to make sure that your ads are appearing only in front of those who are actually interested in what you offer and are actually likely to buy your services. So the first thing I'd recommend doing is looking at all of the keywords inside your campaign and making sure, first of all, that if anyone was to search for one of these keywords into Google, that they are likely to actually be looking for what you offer, as we've seen it inside campaigns where keywords have been added over a long period of time, and then people realize that it's not actually an ideal keyword to target in the first place for what they offer. So it's worth going through your full list of keywords for your campaign and making sure that if you're thinking from the customer's perspective, that they're likely to actually be looking for what you offer when they type in one of these keywords into Google. And what we recommend doing as well to make sure the quality of the searches that you are getting are high is using mostly exact match keywords where possible, if search volume actually allows you to do so. Because if you have a solid list of keywords in place, you know that for the vast majority of the time, that all of the searches that you're going to actually appear for are relevant to what you offer because they all more or less mean the exact same thing as the keywords that you're targeting. Whereas with phrase and broad match keywords, it's really easy to appear for a lot more irrelevant search terms that are just not relevant to what you offer at all. And that you know if somebody clicks on your ad after searching for one of those search terms, that they're very unlikely to convert and it's more likely just going to be a wasted click. And as well as having your keywords as exact match as an extra measure to make sure that your searches are highly relevant, you also want to make sure that the keywords themselves all have some level of intent. So, for example, we wouldn't have artificial grass or artificial turf on its own as a keyword for this campaign because that can mean a lot of things, including someone just looking to buy the product itself, and doesn't necessarily mean that that person is looking to get artificial grass installed by a landscaping company. So, you really want to make sure that the keywords you target have the intent of getting the service that you offer done. And it's always worth checking the search terms report under insights and reports as well, where you can see all of the actual search terms you've appeared for. So you know that the searches that you're appearing for where people actually see your ads are relevant to what you offer. And if your ads are appearing for search terms that are completely irrelevant, then you can start adding those as negatives to your campaign. And as an additional measure as well, to really try and minimize the amount of irrelevant search terms that you appear for, is that you can add negative keywords in advance to your campaign so you don't have to appear for those irrelevant search terms in the first place before having to add them. So you can go to keywords and then negative keywords, and any potential searches that you know from the very beginning that you do not want to appear for, you can add them as negative keywords to your campaign in advance. And this is just a strict strategy for keyword targeting to make sure that anyone that does see your ads are highly likely to actually be looking for what you offer. And when you get to the point where you can use smart bidding inside your campaign after getting a lot of conversions, where Google's algorithm really starts showing your ads to those that are likely to actually want to get the job done because there's so much conversion data built up, then at that point you can start getting a bit broader with your match types and adding in some phrase and broad match keywords. But for the most part, we like to stick with exact match keywords if we have enough search volume to do so, because we've always found conversion rates to be the highest this way, because we've always been able to avoid any potential wasted spend this way. And our conversion rates as well have always been a lot higher because anyone that's actually clicking on the ad has a good chance of converting because they are actually looking to get that service done. The next aspect of targeting as well we can look at, because it's not only keyword targeting that actually matters inside Google Ads, but you can go to audiences then as well. And firstly, we're going to look at audience segments. And the only point I'll make on this is that at the beginning, when you're setting up your campaign, especially, is that for the targeting setting under audience segments, is that you want to make sure that you have this set to observation mode, because there's a ton of audience segments out there that you can target. But if you set a few audience segments as targeting from the very beginning rather than observation, then you're only giving Google the chance to show your ads to those people that are in specific audience segments. And that would massively reduce the amount of potential good quality leads that Google could show your ads to because they don't fall under a specific audience segment. So we much prefer to have this targeting setting set to observation at the beginning, and then if you find that over time that you have audience segments that are performing really well, then you can always choose to target them over time. but you can have as many audience segments set as you like, but just make sure that they're set to observation mode at the very beginning. And on the topic then of audiences as well, we can go to demographics and look at age, gender, and household income if your country actually shows that. And with demographics, you really want to make sure you have enough data before making any positive or negative bid adjustments, because you don't really know what's going to perform best until you have a decent amount of conversion data. But for age here, for example, for this campaign, because it's a landscaping campaign, we just chose not to target 18 to 24-year-olds at all, because they're very unlikely to actually be looking to get one of these services done. And for the other age groups, then what we like to do is have bars set for conversion rate and cost per conversion, where we want the blue bar to be as high as possible and the red bar to be as low as possible, because that's the actual cost per lead. And so we can see here, for example, that with 45 to 54-year-olds and 65-plus-year-olds, that these two age groups seem to be performing best. And you can make bid adjustments based on which ages and genders also are performing better or worse once you actually have that conversion data to do so. Geographic targeting then as well is just more of an obvious one. If you're a service-based business, then the chances are you want to operate within a certain location, unless you're a much bigger company that you don't want to set your location targeting to nationwide. So if you're serving specific cities or counties or suburbs, then you want to make sure that you have that location targeting set up accordingly, because you do not want to be paying for leads as a service-based business that are a 2-hour drive away from where you live, because you can't afford to be spending that much time traveling between jobs when you can be getting those jobs from a lot closer to where you're based. And we have a separate video on making sure that your location targeting is set up correctly on the channel if you'd like to check that out. But it is really simple for the most part. You simply just choose to set the target location that you want to target. You can add location exclusions just to make sure, as an additional measure, that you don't appear in specific locations. And for the location options, then you just want to select presence and not presence or interest, to really just make sure that you only appear inside the location that you want to appear in. Then ad scheduling is another one as well, and this is always going to come down to which days of the week and times of the day suit you. And because there's no right or wrong times to show your ads, and it can also be very service specific as well. So if for any reason that it makes more sense to show your ads at a specific time depending on the service that you offer, then you can choose the days of the week and times of the day to show your ads based on that. And some companies, for example, that offer emergency services might want to run their ads 24/7, because they might be missing out if they don't have their ads running during the night. But in those cases, you want to make sure that you have someone available to answer the phone for those calls that do come in. And that's the main thing to mention about ad schedule, is that the right times of day and days of week to run your ads are the times that you know that if a lead comes in, you'll be able to respond to that lead as soon as possible. So that can be either answering the phone when the call comes through, or returning that call within a few minutes if it's a missed call, or if a form submission comes through after filling out the form on your landing page, that form can be replied to within a few minutes. So when it comes to ad scheduling, it really comes down to, when actually suits you and the hours that your company typically operates. Lastly, then we have devices as well. So you can see here for this campaign that we're actually only running the ads currently on mobile phones, because we've found from the very beginning that mobile phones just tended to perform a lot better than computers and mobile and tablets. So we decided to only run the ads on mobile phones, because we found that that's really where the vast majority of our leads were coming from. And this is what you can do with all aspects of your campaign as well, is really allocate your budget on what's performing best for you as well, so that if you find that, maybe if you're offering something really specific in the B2B space, that running your ads more on computers might work for you. And the targeting options that you choose as well, you always need data to actually determine what's going to perform best, because you might be able to guess that mobile phones are likely to perform better than computers, but you don't really know for sure until you let the campaign run for a while and collect some data. And at the beginning especially, you really are just spending budget to figure out what works best and what doesn't, and then you're able to make adjustments based on that data that you get. And then that's when you really actually start to bring down your cost per lead over time. Now, I hope this video helped and gave you some clarity on what you can do to really make sure that you're targeting the right audience inside Google Ads. And now, if you do have any questions at all about anything we mentioned inside this video, or anything else related to Google Ads in general, feel free to leave a comment down below. And if you are a service-based business looking to further refine your own campaigns as well, feel free to have a look at the link in the description. And if you do like this Google Ads related content, feel free to leave a like and subscribe to the channel, as we'll be posting all things related to Google Ads here daily. And hopefully we'll see you inside the next video.